Alright, in this video I'm gonna show how to create a minimal C shell configuration from scratch, uh, because I've noticed that the default configurations of many tools are pretty bad, and for newcomers it might be overwhelming of the hundreds of configurations, which ones are necessary or most useful. But after decades of experience, I have figured out uh, which are, in my opinion, the ones that most people will want, especially beginners. So this is a basic setup, XFCE with basically nothing. So this is from scratch. We start the terminal and we are greeted with this message. And if you don't do anything, this is basically the prompt that you have and no configuration. And this is awful. You start a new terminal and once again, you are greeted with that message. So first we create that uh, RC file with nothing, and then uh, that's a start, but not very good. So before I start, I actually want to set up a nice environment. So I already have some things configured. This is C shell, Kitty terminal, which is much better in my opinion. And then I have this tool. This is not part of the C shell configuration, but it's nice. Uh, this basically loads my settings, so I can. This is a. Oops, this is the configuration, and it just loads all of this. So okay, so now I have a basic, and I can control the window, and everything is. Oops. Okay. Anyway, everything is how I want it. So now let's get started. Actually, let me increase the font. Let's say 120. Yeah. Let's do it even more. Let's do 140. All right. So first, let's start with the prompt. The prompt is set with this variable. You just change it, and for example, this for me it's already a better prompt. Why? Because I don't need to know the machine I'm in. Like if I switch to another machine, then I can do just machine B, whatever. Anyway, that's up to every person to decide. I think the machine is like this. Yeah. So you can, with this symbol and then a letter, you can choose what you different options that you want. But I found that basically most people will just want this one, which is the current directory, simplified. So if I go to documents, now the location of that is in the prompt. Now, most people will want colors, so let's say blue, and then you have to reset. There it is. Actually, blue and bold. So with this you set bold, with this you reset bold. That's pretty much it. Actually, this I like in green, and then reset. And that's it. That's already a useful prompt. But if we create a new terminal, then that's not set. So let's copy this um, and add it to our C-shell RC file. Yeah, that's okay. Now, every time we create a new terminal, we have that prompt. So this is a good start, except let me open my cheat sheet. I don't have it. This symbol is much nicer. This is some Unicode symbol. I like it more. Okay, so that's the first step. Second step is bind keys. So these are the shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, the default keyboard shortcuts for C-shell. But I think most people will prefer the Emacs bindings rather than the BI bindings. For example, if I do history, okay, not here. So for example, if I do index and I say like, oh, I want to open that file. What I do is, oh, this worked. Huh. All right. I don't know what happened, but bind key E. With this, you change the keyboard bindings to Emacs mode. So just these two lines are already useful. I don't know exactly what are the difference. I just have always used Emacs bindings. These are also the bindings in Bash. So that's a good start. Now, what is the next step? History. So the problem is that if I show the history here, this history is local to this terminal. I open a new terminal and the history is reset. So you need to set the history in a file. Now, for that you need to set all these three variables. If you don't set all three, it doesn't work. So you can choose any file you want. I prefer this one. And I choose 100,000 because I've done tests and this is the maximum amount that is fast to load in probably most machines. So now create a new terminal, say echo bar. Now the history file is not going to contain anything until we exit. Okay. No, maybe we echo his file. Yes. Interesting. Oh. Okay. So now the history is being saved. But there are many options how to add commands to the history. This is the one I find most useful. Incremental append history. Let me close all of these. Okay. Actually, let me create a new terminal. So why that is useful? Because if I say, actually, yeah, actually let me remove this, start a new terminal, and then add this command. Then I create another terminal, and that command is not in the history. It's only like it's only when I close this terminal that that command is added to the history. So I prefer to add it as you type them. So if I create a new terminal, it didn't work. I don't know. I mean, the commands are there. Anyway, so now if I do foobar 3, that's the latest command in the history now for all the terminals. All right, so that's history, but I find these bind keys very useful as well. So this is page up and page down. So now if I do, sorry, that's up. So I type the beginning of a command and then just up, 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 down, 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 down. So that's a way to search based on some beginning. So that's quite useful. All right, what's next? Aliases. I prefer to store this in a separate file, but for now let's put them all here. So the syntax is really simple: alias, then the alias, and then the command that you want to alias. So instead of doing like this, I prefer to do it like this. So this doesn't work, but if I do alias, now it works. So it's just a shortcut to open a file. This is a common alias. Oh, let me. Oops, that's something I need to configure. But that's a standard way of opening files, and then git. All right. Now colors. If you don't add this command, this option, then there are no colors. So with this you have colors, but you will not want to type this every time you type ls. So with this alias, just do ls and you see colors. Same for grep, diff, grep. You see colors. Should I explain this? No, I think this is just useful, but it's a little complicated to explain. But so the H is useful when you would want to show like human readable sizes. If you don't do H, then it's just bytes, which is not very useful. So you will have to do LSLH. But if that's already part of the alias, you don't have to do that. It's always human readable sizes. Anyway, so those are colors, and then some shortcuts for ls, like la, and this is so that every time you move a file, if you are overwriting an existing files, you get a prompt like uh, you get asked if you really want to overwrite that. Yes. Okay, so those are useful aliases. Then completion. So for example, let's say nothing gets completed if I type a command, but with this, oops, uh, now all the commands have nice completions. Okay. Right, because I'm not in a repository. Anyway, so we add this to our file, and then this is for the title of the terminal. Here, the terminal doesn't know what title to use, so all are sysl. So the way to set the title is with this print, like this. I wanna say foobar. Now the title is changed to foobar, both in the window and the tab. So, but we want to dynamically change the title to the location, the current working directory. So we can do that like this, but that's not gonna be replaced. So that's why you add this option, uppercase P. Now it's replaced. So, however, if I change directory, that's not updated. It has to be printed again. And I do this -3 so that it's only the first 3 levels of the directory. So, for example, if I don't do that, then the title becomes quite long, especially if these are long names. But with this, it's shortened. So that's better. And in order for this to happen every time the prompt is changed, you use this function. So now all right. So now it's updated every time you change directory. Sorry, I have this custom of. Let me set this option. Auto CD. Yeah. With this, instead of saying change directory to that directory, you just use that directory, which is just a nice shorthand. This is an extra, but as you can see, my muscle memory, I use it all the time. So let's copy this into our RC, and that's it. This is the basic configuration that the minimal configuration that I think, I don't know what's going on here, that I think uh, most people will want is is what, 30 lines of code, pretty simple. So basically I can end the video here, but let's show a few more. So I already showed this auto change directory. I also prefer to split the prompt into right hand side and left hand side. So let's do that. This way the directory is on the left, on the right, sorry, and on the right there's nothing but just this symbol, except actually I added a little trick here. If there's an error, the symbol changes to red. So that's just a nice feedback. Now I change to directory. Right, I don't have this auto cd option. Okay, let's add extra. Okay, so this way, as you change directories, the prompt this side doesn't change, and all the commands are on the same level. Now, what else? Right, these are just some typical bind keys that are normally not set. Like if I go to the beginning of the line with home, it doesn't work. So this is just home and end. Now here it works, and then this is the delete char. Here it works. Here it doesn't work. So just for historical reasons, these are in some other configuration. But anyway, this is the way to add them to a blank from scratch, a configuration from scratch. And finally, some Git stuff. This is, I'm just gonna copy all this stuff. Actually, let me comment this so you see what these are for. This file contains this function, which is part of the Git distribution. And now the right hand side contains the Git repository if it's available. So let's change directory to, here I have a Git repository. Normally you will need to do like Git branch to know in which branch you are, but well, now you don't need to do that. Let's make a commit. Okay. I don't know. Oh, it did work. Okay. First, to show colors. I don't have configured clipboard stuff. So now there are colors. Uh, if there are modifications, this doesn't show anything, but with this, now there's this notification, and then with this, it shows if there's didn't copy it. If there's some difference between the upstream branch and the current branch. And this is just for detached stuff, which is not gonna make a difference here. So that's it. This is a pretty simple configuration that is very useful, much better than the default. And yeah, I think that's it. A few more things. If you're gonna do try to track the changes to your configurations, I have this tool that shows, for example, that this is a new file. You can add the file. Actually, let me do that. Add this file, then commit, add C shell config, and then if I make a change, for example, let's remove this. Now it shows that you made a change to this file, and of course I will want an alias, so I don't have to type that completely. So I just do cdiff and I made a mistake somewhere. Yeah. There it is. So this way you can keep track of the configuration. This is it will take a while to explain how all this is happening, but it's not that complicated. And I'm gonna add the links to all this stuff in the video. So that's it. That's the this is not, well, that's the reason why I added this option, because otherwise the function is not substituted. Now it's working correctly. Okay, that's the video. Cheers.